All right, looks like we are live again. So, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel under Johnny the Whiz Kid. We have breaking news. Probably not when you've already caught up to it, but for those tuning in to my channel, we actually defeated our worst fear and enemy regarding the market. Censorship has been destroyed for I'm gonna just say momentarily or just for now. So last week we talked about YouTube about to enforce their policy on actually that wasn't the victory yet. I think that's still going on, but what started it was with Visa and Mastercard pressuring Steam to ban certain content or stuff to buy that they just don't agree with, or I don't know. Again, listening to those feminists that just want to get in our way of enjoyment. So Trump just signed an executive order to stop that. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about some things regarding anime cartoons and any kind of new things to look forward to, including video games. So we're going to get started with the executive order. I'm going to pull up Twitter. Actually, I did not have this ready. Sorry, hold on a minute. Pulling up the one that that talks about that it elaborates how this executive order works. You know, maybe it's under DD Cobras. He always gives a like to everything Trump does. That's a meme. Okay, I gotta be careful what I show because it's not all appropriate. Okay, no, not that one. Yeah, I follow politics a lot. Not that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's taking too long. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Alright, I'm going to share my screen on Twitter right now. Which one is it? PC gaming? No. Is it that? Oh, no, that's not the right one. What happened? Nope. Oh, shit. Not that one. Did I take it out? Did I... I don't know what happened. It's so I can share my computer screen. See, that's PC gaming. Oh, okay. Okay, well, good enough. What? Oh, jeez, Botrix again. Ignore that. Okay. So let's go over to Twitter right here. Here I have Jeremy Prime, D-Day Cobra. He always likes anything good that Trump does. So here is our victory. MasterCard dealing with gamers is the biggest fuck around find out moment in a long time. Madam Savvy has been an MVP on this so far. If you don't know Madam Savvy, this is her channel. You can follow her if you like. Allergic to Sun and MetaPC's affiliate. Cool. So yeah, she loves a bunch of video games and stuff. Japanese stuff as well. Okay. Okay. Maybe you don't want to know what that is about. Anyway. So, let's read this. Clarifying recent headlines on gaming content. MasterCard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creators' sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchase on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. This is where you do the face palm. You know, like, unlawful purchases. That's, what did you just say? Illegal? Illegal adult content. You know, the only thing I can think of that's illegal would be involving children. Okay? That should be illegal. But regular adult content should not be illegal. Okay? There are adult games at the appropriate age of consent that should be legal. But like, you know, when it goes vague like that, look, I get that, but I mean, if they're taking away what they believe is illegal adult content, then they just do not look carefully. There's some games that are consensual that are labeled for rated A for adults or M for mature, whatever, you know. You know, the ESRB makes sure that the game is intended for adults only or mature audiences. If these companies just don't look carefully about what these games are, and they just, you know, think, oh, this has suggested themes, okay, we're going to label that as illegal adult content. No, you don't do that. That's not how you do things. So, like, we have reported that people have been calling up MasterCard and Visas and nagging them and giving them a hard time, and they've reacted and, like, yelled, like, so many people have been calling us, like, why can't you just accept our ways? Because you're doing shit wrong. So they're insisting this is the way. Not anymore. Because they're not looking. They're not. So, okay, I want to get to where Trump signed that EO. It's wrestling. Let's see. You can read all this community notes if you want. Otaku's magazines and stuff. Alright. Let me keep looking here. Because I wanted to show the picture of him signing the executive order. Okay, this was a week ago. Yeah, a week ago. Okay. Sorry, I did not have this pulled up before I went live, so I apologize. Just bear with me for a few minutes as I look for it. Alright, if it's not here, I'll just look for it on Google right now. Okay. Okay. If I can't find it, then we'll just watch a YouTube video that explains it all. I think that would be much easier. I don't think I can get that out of there. Nope. Okay, fine. Alright, that's okay. That's okay. Alright, we're gonna watch this YouTube video so I can show what everybody's celebrating on Trump's executive order. So I'm gonna mute my mic and we'll just listen and observe how this guy explains this latest executive order.
Ladies and gentlemen, whether you hate Trump or you love Trump, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, no matter what, we can all agree that this recent executive order done by Donald Trump could be a massive, massive W. Yes, the Guaranteeing Fair Banking for All Americans executive order was dropped yesterday. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to cover it, but I think it really does come down to the end. I think we should cover it just so that we're aware of what's going on, because whether it does help us or not with our whole situation with essentially payment processors debanking people, again, the whole thing with Steam, with them taking down games based on it being offensive, and yes, a lot of the situations happening, especially within Japan, where, Taro Yamada and Zunko here has pretty much been covering for a while now, is a lot of the companies in Japan losing their payment processors based on inappropriate material that are lawful to sell. With all this situation happening here, the potential of this executive order is massive. There's a potential that it could resolve a lot of those issues. But at the same time, I think when I first read it, a lot of the wording in it does sort of lead me to believe that it's more focused towards political stuff. The banks can no longer debank you for being affiliated with a certain political group. I mean, he does sort of outline it a lot in the purpose area here. It's specifically getting into things like January 6th. It's getting into things like, yes, if you had Trump or MAGA, some sort of affiliation there, you were completely debanked. But there is a lot of wording in the actual stuff here that it gets into that sort of does lean more towards the idea of it being very broad. And that's a good thing. It's broad in the sense that it could potentially lead into companies like Steam and whatnot being able to fight back. And that's the good thing. But whether it does or does not, I think the good thing that this sort of does is it opens awareness to it that it could lead to things that could be more solidified. Because this is just an executive order. This could be slapped down, it could be, dismissed or whatever. With this is law. And I think with having something like this already pre-established, something like the Fair Access to Banking Act could be more easier to accept. And this is what I was kind of getting into for a while now. When I told people, go read this act, see if it's something that you like, and then call your representatives and say, hey, this is something I want to look into, or ask them questions about it. And I think with having something like this already pre-established, something like this might be more acceptable. And the idea that, yes, the Fair Access to Banking Act was essentially groups trying to combat this stuff. This is why the Fair Access to Banking Act was originally submitted, was because people were being deplatformed, firearms companies were being, debanked, all that kind of stuff. Trump's just jumping straight to the executive order. But again, in order to get it solidified as law, we need something like this, and the executive order could open that door to it. So now people, when they go to the representatives and talk about the Fair Access to Banking Act, they can talk about, yeah, it's similar to the whole executive order. Let's solidify it. Let's solidify that sucker. Because again, the Fair Access to Banking Act is much more specific to the idea of you can't deny people if they're doing lawful things. Plain and simple. Whereas again, the executive order, what I've read so far, seems more leaning towards the idea you can't discriminate against religion and political beliefs and political sides. Let's actually look into it. Let's actually look into it to kind of get an idea of exactly what they're doing here. In the introduction here, where they have the purpose, it gets into, again, the whole access, being denied based on who you affiliate with politically, stuff like that.
Yeah, if anyone has not followed politics at all, because we know it's not fun, but it's serious when they get involved with our regular lives, and it was not fun throughout all these years. I don't know if it started back in 2015 when Trump ran for office, but that's when a lot of people have hated a bunch of Trump supporters and MAGA people, and I still remember people wearing those red hats. They were getting assaulted, even old people. It was insane. We'll never forget those, and we just cannot we can't find everyone that has treated people that way, but we'll just never forget how they've been treated. Anyone that has labeled us all these things, like, people will have a tendency to forgive because they don't want to be bitter, but some just won't forgive, and that's fair too. Because if there's no accountability for that, then it's just not fair for those that get away with bad things, and then they get no justice, and that's still ongoing. But I think when Biden took office, then a bunch of companies and people were, I didn't know this term debanking, but I know cancel culture. So anyone that was a Trump supporter, they get like banned from social media if they are affiliated with Trump, or they did something they didn't like, or you made a comment that they didn't like, and if you the same thing, you probably get fired from your job, or they just will not sponsor you, anything like that. That's what I remember of cancel culture. Debanking, that's when the banks like Bank of America has refused service for conservatives, like Christians, I guess, but also some MAGA people too. But it has gotten that serious. So all these times it has, oh, we got Hugo. Yeah, it is going to be an anime discussion later on. First, I'm talking about the executive order Trump signed that's saving gamers and anime purchasers. Visa and Mastercard has gotten involved with stopping Steam from selling any content that they deemed inappropriate, adult content, all that stuff. You are still on that? Yeah, this is why you only have one other person here. I don't know what you mean, but it is an important matter. So like if you weren't here earlier, Visa and Mastercard were pressuring Steam from taking down content that they didn't agree with. So the games that they think is illegal adult content, they were taking those down so gamers could not purchase those. The same thing with anime, whatever that's going on. Well, I'm sorry, but politics is part of our lives and everything. Whether you like it or not, it's in video games, it's in anime, because these companies debank you for being affiliated with MAGA or Donald Trump or whatever that they disagree with. I'm sorry, but that's just what we've been dealing with all these years. So we're talking about this executive order that Trump signed is actually saving gamers and consumers. It's been talked about for a week. So with Visa and Mastercard, they've been under pressure to stop this, stop doing this, and then and then Trump took action and stopped that. So this is good news for people like you that purchase things that you like, that's adult content, whatever, it doesn't matter. But Visa and Mastercard have no right to do this, and I don't know why Steam bent the knee, but they bent the knee. So now this had to be done, and it's good news, and I'm talking about it. So getting back to it, I'm just talking about why this is going on for newcomers that haven't been following this, because I've been following this, and we know why these things happen, and now we're winning the culture war. The more this happens, the more we win. So getting back to it, we're gonna keep watching this video. Oh, gotta mute my mic.
Essentially creating a choke point, able to kind of deplatform people, debank people in order to destroy them, essentially. In the policy itself, we get into the nitty-gritty of it. It is the policy of the United States that no American should be denied access to financial services because of their constitutionally or statutorily protected beliefs, affiliation, or political views, and to ensure that politicized or unlawful debanking is not used as a tool to inhibit such beliefs, affiliations, or political views. Again, it's very political views, very, belief-centric, but there is things such as, affiliations that are in here. Banking decisions must instead be made on the basis of individualized, objective, and risk-based analysis. Again, this is similar to the whole Banking Act thing that we're talking about before. It does seem like this is more focusing it in on, you need to have an actual impact to you. You can't just say this is offensive. You have to have an actual impact. Now, again, I don't like the inclusion of risk-based analysis because it sort of opens the door to them basically going, oh, well, we were going to lose a lot of customers, so we had to get rid of this. It was going to damage our brand, and that's what's been in the stupid policies for all these companies, including MasterCard and Visa, this idea of them being able to decline people based on things that will damage their brand. That could still technically be there. Getting the definitions, the term politicized or unlawful debanking refers to the act by a bank, savings association, credit union, or other financial service provider to directly or indirectly adversely restrict access to or adversely modify the conditions of accounts, loans, or other banking products or financial services of any customer or potential customer on the basis of a customer's or potential customer's political or religious belief, or on the basis of the customer's or potential customer's lawful business activities that the financial service provider disagrees with or disfavors for political reasons. Again, it sounds so good. It sounds so good, and then it goes political. It sounds so good, and then it goes political. That's why I was so conflicted when I'm reading this, is it doesn't sound right. Again, they're talking about the term politicized or unlawful debanking, and that's what they're defining here. But that's the stuff where it kind of just throws it off the end there. It's good, and then throws it off the end. It's unlawful debanking, but it's politicized. Now, here's the key thing here. This is the big thing. This is the big thing that I think is so broad, it could actually help. Section 4, removing reputational risk and politicize or unlawful debanking. Within 180 days of the date of this order, each appropriate federal banking regulator shall, to the greatest extent permitted by law, remove the use of reputational risk or equivalent concepts that could result in politicized or unlawful debanking. This is the key thing here. This sounds so broad, this could actually help. Or again, it could open the door to things like the Fair Access to Banking Act. The idea is that removing this whole reputational risk crap is a very broad term that they put in their policies. Again, like we mentioned earlier with MasterCard right here, this idea of it might damage our brand, this kind of stuff. And the fact that it says or there, or equivalent concept, it doesn't have to say reputational risk. It just has to be that same concept. The idea that it might hurt our brand. It might make us look bad. That kind of stuff. Again, that with what we're kind of getting into here with this executive order, or at least the potential reason why it was originally created, or he basically says it, the idea that because you're affiliated with this political party, we can't do business with you because it looks bad, because that person looks really bad. This political leader looks like they could damage things. They look like this, they look like that, the usual political stuff. And we're not getting into that technically, we're just kind of focusing the reason for this. This could be so broad, it could actually affect the situation we're having with Steam. And again, like I've said before, the reason why I keep bringing this whole thing up, even though I don't have anything to do with the games they're taking down there, it's a slippery slope and they've opened the door and everybody's acknowledged that. Everybody acknowledges, and most people, they don't care about those games. They care about the future. And again, they care about what they've seen hundreds of times before with a lot of these political groups that are coming after, different companies in Japan that people like Taro Yamada have been kind of fighting against. That could result in politicized or unlawful debanking, as well as any other considerations that could be used to engage in such debanking from their guidance documents, manuals, and other materials, other than the existing regulations or materials requiring notice and comment rulemaking, used to regulate or examine financial institutions over which they have jurisdiction.
So again, this stuff is not fun, but it is important for your future if you care to know what's going on with your stuff, whatever you're buying. This is something that you do have to at least get some basic knowledge on. So whether I'm talking politics or not, it doesn't matter, because if you're gonna shop for things and then you're denied it and then you have no idea why, and then the reason is all this stuff that you just don't understand because you decide to avoid politics, that's your fault. You have to at least gain some basic knowledge on these things. It's in school. Our school system is a total train wreck when it involves Marxism stuff, and they're not teaching you all the important stuff. That's because they're just trying to dumb you down, or at least make you ignorant so you don't know these things, and you just you'll feel like, oh, forget it, it's probably nothing, it's just a little thing, and then they're going to take over more and more and more until you can't do anything. No! you do have to care about these little things, these things that just like conflicts with our pop culture, because they are getting involved. So that means we have to get involved to learn these things, and then if we see something wrong, you have to take action and speak out against it. So whether I'm like, you know, whether it's just one view or not, or you know, it's conflicting with the topic, it doesn't matter, because our pop culture is conflicted with politics now because they decided to make it personal to them, you know. So like, again, I've been following this for 10 years now. I mean, since 2018, whatever. This has been going on for 10 years. I've been following this since 2018. This is important stuff, okay? So it sucks that it is, but this is where we are now. So this has to be talked about. But anyway, when they're in touch with companies in Japan that sell stuff we want, then it should concern us. So let's get back to it.
Removal of such concepts shall be made clear by each appropriate federal banking regulator through the formal guidance to the examiners. The federal banking regulators shall also consider rescinding or amending existing regulations consistent with applicable law to eliminate or amend any regulations that could result in politicized or unlawful debanking, and to ensure that any regulated firm's or individual's reputation is considered for regulatory, supervisory, banking, or enforcement purposes solely to the extent necessary to reach a reasonable and apolitical risk-based assessment. Again, we're getting to risk-based assessment again. Again, that's sort of what I'm seeing with this whole thing, is it's very political focused, it's very religious focused, but at the same time, it sort of creeps open that door, again, that somebody like Steam could potentially go to them and go, hey, you've seen the executive order, back off now. But again, this is executive order. It's not law itself. We need something solidified. And again, I think the biggest positive of this whole thing is that it could potentially help us. But like I said before, I think it opens the door for people to talk to their representatives and say, hey, look at that guaranteed fair banking for all Americans. I also like this Fair Access to Banking Act, and I think it's pretty much the same thing, right? Why don't we put this in effect? Brownie points. Brownie points. Hey, brownie points right here. You know, you get in with the guy. Go get this in there. Get this in there. It might be a good thing. And again, I welcome people to go read it themselves. They don't have to back Fair Access to Banking Act. I personally think it's really good. Has a lot of really positive things in it. You can just at least talk to your, representatives and say, hey, can we do something like a law like this that is going to be not so much just about politics and religion and all that kind of stuff, but make it more broad of the idea. Let's make these payment processors actually have to do payment processing as long as it's legal. Plain and simple. This idea that MasterCard has this stupid stipulation here where, if it looks bad, it might hurt our mark. Nobody cares about the MasterCard mark. Nobody cares about that. Literally, when this whole thing happened, I had to go look about which ones were on my cards because I had no clue. I didn't care. I went to a bank. The bank is nearby. Their rates and interest and whatnot are good for me. I signed up for them, and it just happens to have this logo on the card. I don't care which logo's on the card. Nobody cares what logo's on the card. Nobody cares what logo's on the website. Who cares is people using this as a weapon. They use it as a weapon, and the activists are using it as a weapon. This is literally a stipulation in here just so they can use this as a weapon to deplatform people, to take down things they don't like. This is literally their law. They made this as a lawmaker. That's literally what it is. So it needs to stop. And again, I think this is a good first step. I think it's too focused on politics that I don't know if it'll actually help. But we'll see. I think in Steam, it's still listing that thing, and I don't think that Steam's going to take down that policy anytime soon because they're still technically under their thumb. This is going to take some time to hopefully kind of roll out for the effects of it to actually happen. It might require somebody to sort of step out and say, try me. It might take itch.io to go, well, you've seen the executive order, come at me, bro. I doubt it. I doubt itch.io is going to step out there and put themselves at risk in order to try that out. But it could turn into Steam basically saying, well, you heard them. Because that's literally what they did to take down Steam. When the whole situation happened with Steam here, what did they tell the journalists? They went to the banks, and the banks came to us. That sounds awfully familiar with what this could possibly be slapping down. The idea that the banks themselves are contacting them and saying, can't do that no more. Policies right there. And again, this is specifying taking down those policies. We'll see, but I wanted to get people informed on this, see if this is something you guys are interested in to keep an eye out for, but it could potentially be a big bonus for us. But again, I'm not holding my breath too much because of its focus. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support channel more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, y'all take care.
So there we have it. The general idea of what the executive order is actually about. So it said a term that I was trying to look for and I couldn't find it. But generally speaking, it's saying they cannot use the excuse protective brand to take down or refuse service with us to buy things they don't want us to. So the executive order is trying to prevent that excuse from being the reason to do that, and now they're just going to make it so like, okay, no, you can't do this. So you cannot refuse service to anybody that wants to buy this just because you believe this damages your brand, or you're doing this whatever I just said earlier. You know, these words are just too big for me to remember all the time, you know. But anyway, let's read the comments. I truly hope this helps. I'm so freaking tired of Visa Mastercard's evil grift. Oh, don't we all? I had no idea that, you know, I know that PayPal has been doing the same thing, kind of like I think I remember when when PayPal was saying, if you have too much money, then we may restrict you from getting more, or something like that. I can't remember at all. But PayPal has been acting very suspicious on that, on their own schemes too. You know, a lot of these companies that have so much money, these corporations, they behave this way. So like, oh my gosh, that's why Trump is like an enemy to a bunch of these people, these rich people, because he was gonna get in the way of their thievery schemes, and now he's definitely doing our work, our wishes, granting our wishes. Please stop this ridiculous attack on our lives, and this is just great to hear. Look, see, Trump bans payment processors and censorship and stuff. Chibi reviews. There we go. That's what I was looking for. We may watch that next. Yeah, look at this. This shouldn't be a political issue. It should be bipartisan, or whatever they say, to prevent everyone getting debanked. Nobody should be able to be debanked, right? Not the biggest fan of certain actions the government does, but this is great, and we need more stuff like yeah. I understand nobody likes to talk about politics. Nobody likes the government, but Trump is a different force. You guys keep underestimating Trump and like keep brushing it off. You don't want to know about him. I know you don't like him, but you guys have to appreciate what he's doing for you. This is a favor he did for y'all. A favor for me too. So you really have to give him credit. You have to understand. You have to know these things. I mean, it will concern you when something is going to happen to you and then you can't do anything about it. So now you have to use your voice to correct the wrong. Take that, collective shoutouts. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've learned about, I've only heard what this collective shoutout is. Oh, hey Nathan. Thank you for talking. Thank you for dropping by. Okay, Nathan, tell me what this collective shout is. I've only read that it's just an article platform that just complains about video game female characters. Like, they're jealous of their attractive designs and whatever, you know? I'll pull up something I saw about that, you know, when I'm always on Twitter, and I'm always seeing what's going on, and I spend way too much time on it. We'll watch this next video about I like chibi reviews. I totally like chibi reviews a lot. So he's gonna talk about the same thing, but let's hear his take on it. All right.
Finally, I could talk about some good news on the channel, because it's been 2.5 weeks of just non-stop bad news. Bad news after bad news, with Collective Shout contacting payment processors like Visa and Mastercard to have Steam and itch.io remove collectively 1,000 games plus, and then all the other stuff that's followed after that. I'm glad I could finally sit down and just talk about kind of the end, honestly, of this saga. Now, it's not quote-unquote the end completely, but it is a massive start. It is a start, a right step in the right direction that honestly could mark the end of what PayPal, what MasterCard, what Visa, and any other payment processor has been doing as of late. Basically, President Trump has signed an executive order, and he did this like yesterday, to where banks and payment processors can no longer block legal content from being purchased. For instance, like what Steam does, what itch.io does, if you want to buy an anime, manga, whatever. Visa and MasterCard and other payment processors and banks, for instance, are not allowed to block things all in the name of brand protection. And if you don't believe me, it literally, this is something different, actually. I'll talk about this in a second. But this right here, you can see outlines. Madam Savvy, pointed this out with some of the things with the executive order, and you can see even payment processors are highlighted here that they're being hit by this as well. This executive order basically is all about risk management and everything about that, or reputation risk. It's where these banks cannot just stop legal purchases of content. If it's legal within the country, it cannot be stopped. That's more or less the summary of what Trump's executive order is. Now, before we go any further, you're probably wondering why I look like I'm in a lot of pain, or a little bit stressed, or talking a little bit sporadically. It's because I had surgery yesterday. If you watch my video, you know, and I'm going to play a clip from my surgery, actually. It's literally the clip I'm going to show you. It's about 25 seconds long, but it's literally me being up for about 3 minutes. Like, I literally just came to, and the first thing I said to my fiance, like, record me. I want people to see my reaction. So, here, I'll play the clip, and this is why I'm acting like I am right now.
I lived, guys. I think they might have taken one of my balls, but why, I don't know. I can't check right now, but they, just, got an ID and everything. Gonna have to censor this and post it. I don't want to share my information, but,
Too late!
yeah, it kind of hurts, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
So, as you can see, I was incredibly, let's just be honest, I was kind of high in that, clip. I was on some heavy anesthesia and whatever they had me on because of the surgery. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I am in a lot of pain right now. They got me on a lot of medicine right now, but I still feel a lot of pain. But no amount of pain, or ball pain, for instance, is going to stop me from talking about some great news when it comes to censorship. Now, this video isn't going to be as extensive as I normally do, because for one, I lack a lot of energy right now, and I'm, not feeling too good. But I wanted to bring this news to everybody's attention because it's a great conclusion. Well, once again, it's not really a conclusion. I'm getting ahead of myself.
So, I guess it's going to be the same thing regarding the reading what the executive order entails. So, you can watch his video on his YouTube channel, Chibi Reviews, if you want. But I guess we'll just read this this Twitter post. The executive order came down today, and it clearly states banking services cannot be denied because of protections provided by the Constitution of the United States. It mentions companies have 180 days to remove any provisions from their TOS that mention reputational damage to themselves, due to the fact that they must provide all lawful citizens with banking services. Oh my god. Companies like Visa and Mastercard can no longer deny payment. I can't believe they were doing this. Fuck you two. Something that, in their opinion, lacks artistic value, but is legal in the USA, which value had pointed to their rule that outlines that sales of products and services that are patently offensive, lacks serious artistic value. Seriously, who the fuck do they think they are to police what we use our money on? And what their thoughts on what's artistically valuable or what is appropriate? That is not what they are built for. That is not what we hire them to do. Oh, that does make me mad when it comes to denying our freedom to do anything. Seriously, you'd think that this would happen under the previous, but it just it's happening now. Like, they're really acting trying to be all rebel. Trump's not fucking around doing all these good things for us, I know y'all hate talking about this, but this is a favor for y'all, so y'all best appreciate what he's done for you. So that's the latest update on. So let's have the good news right now, because the main concern last week was YouTube planning to limit our visibilities. So this executive order was not on YouTube; it was on the Visa and Mastercard. So I guess it's like the step one of what was starting with the Mastercard and then YouTube now. Boy, but we're glad to now to buy stuff again. But I mean, first executive orders are done. I think, to my understanding, he signs it, and then it has to be approved by Congress, and then it's got to be made into law in the in Congress, or no, in the House or something. I think. I still don't really. I'm not all. I still don't know how this stuff works exactly. But when things are done like this, it doesn't happen right away. It takes time. It's a process. But for gamers and anime fans, this is good news. So I wanted to bring up that positive vibe there. So there's some relief for that. So hope you all are happy. But now we want to talk about an anime topic that I have a particular opinion on, or at least I want to get some context on what this. First of all, I don't even know what's going on. So I saw this post on Twitter. This I don't know this Japanese guy, but he works in Toei, Toei. He says that anime will stay Japanese, and it refuses to become like Disney. If I'm gonna find that post before I go any further, so I make sure I have the appropriate context. Toei anime will stay Japanese, refuse to be like Disney. I need to get the whole. I want the post. Oh well, Screen Rant I kind of like so far. See, he had a quote. I just want to find it. Is this it? Well, it's one of them, but I'm looking for what this guy said. Toei is One Piece. Yeah. I got tired of One Piece. I stopped watching it. Okay, that's not it. Alright, let me get back into Twitter to find that. So I got Tim. I had too much going on. You gotta be careful with that. Oh, I think I remember. On replies. Sheesh, I made too many reposts. Okay, I'll be able to find it. Oh! Wait, I think this is it. Oh yes! This is another thing I wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh. Okay, but later. I need to find that one that I saw first. Don't want to show that. Here it is. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it is the same video. Okay. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, it's Turbo Shepherds. Hey there! I'm doing fine. How are you? I just went over the news about, if you know that Steam was I don't know, taking down some games, or Visa and Mastercard was refusing or just blocking people from buying anything that Steam has because they didn't like it. Well, that has been reversed thanks to Trump's executive order, so it's okay. So like that's like censorship is defeated on that part. So if you want, you can check out on Chibi Reviews talking about that. So that's good news for us, for us consumers. Okay, now I have something new to talk about, some anime topics. Okay, so I'm gonna share my my screen here again. Okay, here on Twitter I found this. So this guy, I guess he works in Toei. I like this logo. It reminds me of An American Tail. I wonder if he likes that. I wonder if he's seen that movie. Anyway, veteran animators said they want to keep anime Japanese and don't want to play it safe like Disney has done for all these years. They mentioned anime become popular lately because of how unique it is from Disney. And then I said, I'm not sure if I'm on point on what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to express what I'm thinking. So this is me. I go by Maga Abra, as you can see. That's my avatar. You know what I think they should start making again? Fantasy adventure. Because I'm tired of all the school life drama and romance, perverted stuff, and cliches. It's too much and it's getting so old. I love and prefer the old stuff that used to be so imaginative. Nowadays, Magic Girls sensual mechas that need orgasms to power up their shit. Stupid Japanese social ways of doing stuff that's unorthodox. I feel that's playing it safe on their end because sex sells. Look, this is not, this is still not untrue, okay? Because I know it's the best way to attract customers. So I'm not denying that. I'm saying that even sometimes I will get tired of seeing some of that fan service. But I'm saying back then, like, they didn't always do that. Anyway, I feel they're doing that because they need money for their economy, which is fine, I get it. But often it's, getting stale. It's an excuse to hash more of the same stale trash I see a lot, and I'm sick of it. Again, it's just my opinion. I know it's just trash for some that just say it's just so stale and boring and stuff. I know. But bring back action. I'm talking about sci-fi. Bring back explosions and quests. I don't know what keep anime Japanese means. Oh, that's right. I don't know what keep anime Japanese means. If it's culture, then that's a stretch because I'll argue again that the West can make anime cartoons too. But hardcore fans just refuse to acknowledge it as anime just because it doesn't come from Japan. Fuck off with that nonsense. Even if the market says so, just fuck off. Look, all I want is fantasy and adventure again. And I'm just sticking to the old classic ones. So, my response, attracts people. So, respectfully, the stuff you're describing has been prevalent in anime since its inception, which makes you not know what you're talking about. No, I do. Because I'm talking about Outlaw Star, Slayer, Scribe, Big O, Scaflowne, and Cowboy Bebop. There's lots I've missed out on, but the only recent ones, action ones we have are Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer. I haven't seen them, but I'm missing those elements from those old shows that make action cartoons amazing, without saturating too much cliches from school life, romance, and drama. I want serious stories like those with some classic comedy we can relate to back in the day. And then this other guy says, it had a lot of fan service, but I do see what you're getting at. Yeah, they need to focus on the story and its action scenes, not the fan service. And that's what I mean, So that was what I was trying to get at. So some of the old stuff have less to no fan service. But I like it when the story takes itself seriously so I can get engaged in it. Now, for some shows that doesn't take itself seriously is when it's trying to be funny. But what does it better than today's? The best examples I can probably think of is Full Metal Panic Season 2, because that season was just hilarious. And then Negima, the second season. That's both a series and a chock full of comedy thrown in the mix, and with the way that has a lot of good old reference and jokes thrown at the characters. sometimes fan service doesn't always mean perverted scenes. Like, I still can't get over all the times that we watch anime cartoons. They have to do the camera shots on a girl's butt, on their underwear, or on their chest, how they bounce all the time, you know? That's the stuff that sells a lot. That's what guys like to see a lot. For me, I just want to focus on, I mean, there is a question, or at least a post I see on Twitter. So like this guy like posts a shot of this girl's butt sitting down, and he asks, "Was that scene really necessary?" And then of course any anime fan would say, "Hell yeah, it is. I love looking at that." So like, okay, well, how about you watch hentai instead? I'm just saying. And it is kind of true. Is that really necessary to see when you're trying to pay attention to the story? Or are we just fooling around? Like, are we just trying to pay attention to this girl instead of the story, you know? I'm just saying. It may be a stupid thing to complain, but whoops, I didn't mean to do that. It may be a dumb thing to complain, but I thought that's what we mostly cared about, like following the story instead of looking at a girl's assets, you know what I mean? So anyway, fan service doesn't always mean perverted scenes. Literally, fan service goes a long way when Disney tries to please fans with reminiscent stuff when they tried to revive Star Wars with Han and Chewie coming back. So just old-fashioned comedy is what I want. So, anime wasn't built on fantasy adventure. I don't know what you mean when you go with that and say the old stuff was better. I agree that most of the old stuff was significantly more unique than most of today, but we literally are in the fantasy adventure phase. I don't know what planet you're on. I mean, again, that's just all I'm talking about. The old stuff. The old stuff did not do a lot of this fan service stuff. But the old stuff had the formula that I'm talking about. So when it comes to watching stuff, I want to focus on the story and the adventure, and I mean, once in a while, a flash is okay. If it's appropriate for the plot, you know, then it's acceptable. But when the girl's just trying to sit down, why do I have to see her ass? And then when you're watching a show that doesn't take itself seriously, you're gonna expect to see a lot of shots on their assets. Because they want us to focus on the assets. The plot is just stupid, okay? There's this new anime there's this new anime show that is showing in Japan. And the plot so far I see is everybody just fucking having sex everywhere they are. In the classroom, they just rise up from their desk, and then it's time to fuck, and that's what they're doing. That's what I want to ask. What planet are we on? What's happening here? And I'm not just talking about, okay, like, I have no idea what's going on with the story. This is just coming out of nowhere. But this is literally the stupidest idea I've ever seen. So, they're showing this on TV in Japan. They're showing, and it's not explicit. They're not showing they're not showing the dudes, like, it's not graphical or anything. That they're showing that they are getting it on everywhere. And like, what the fuck? Why? Just why? It's a show that I call, why the fuck is it not hentai then? They're making a lot of shows like that now. They're showing girls undressing and get naked, showing their stuff, and just getting physically intimate with the guy. And like, why just can't they just do the deed now and like get it over with? Cause like, just what is the point now? It's a tease, but like, it's just aggravating now, but it's just tiring. Like, it's just dumb. It's fucking dumb. You might as well just fap to hentai then, okay? Because when I see stuff on that show, like it just makes guys want. It would just make guys want to do the fapping instead. You know, that's all you think about when you see that, not just to get a good look. Like, you can look at that anywhere you go now. Like, when I'm watching that, and the plot's just not important. You just want to see the girls naked, and you might as well just fab to it, you know? So that's that, okay? But anyway, back to this. I got off topic a lot. So, we're gonna watch another video from Chiba Reviews talking about, what I just read. Japan wants to keep anime Japanese and refuse to become like Disney. I already have an idea what it's talking about. Because since the culture war started 10 years ago with when Trump ran for office, now everything has become woke. With feminists taking over to change everything that normal people like to watch. They wanted to push their political agendas and just change the formula of feminism and females being from being attractive, pretty, and sexy to now just embracing something that is not attractive, like fatness and weird haircuts with color highlights, piercings, and their feelings, their ideas, or they're just preaching about they don't need no men, or just putting them down. Anything stupid. They changed all that. Now it's that, and now we don't have anything good. And all our entertainment's ruined because of these activists changing a lot of stuff. Making female the main protagonist without earning it, without working for it. And it's unbelievable, it's unrealistic, but it just is aggravating. And whenever we criticize, we get attacked. And obviously, that's been going on. We all know that. So everything the West makes is not fun to watch. And it's hard to find good entertainment, but anime was our last line of defense of entertainment, and that's where it's always go. That's the main popularity, because we believe Japan is smarter than the companies that ran here, So that's when this topic comes in. This guy from Toei, generally speaking for all anime, they don't want to become like Disney is. We feel that the same way. We don't want anime to be anything regarding DEI or whatever. But I want to get more into it. I don't know what it's talking about. We're going to watch this video and see if this guy can explain more on what this guy... Again with that. What this guy is talking about. Alright, let's listen to this video right now.
Western audiences growing tired of formulaic Disney titles is what paved the way for Japanese anime, Toei Animation veterans say. Over the past decade, anime has rapidly transformed from a niche subculture to a global industry that accounts for a huge chunk of Japan's exports. Although a lot has already been said about why anime became so big outside of Japan, it's not every day you get to hear the perspective of industry figures who are around to witness US movie theaters refusing to screen anime firsthand. Creators from Toei Animation, Japan's oldest anime studio, recently talked about the reasons behind anime's popularity that Japanese people don't know about. Speaking to President Online, Tatsuya, a veteran anime director at Toei Animation who directed Dragon Ball Super, Broly, and much of the One Piece anime, says that the reason why Japanese anime has become so big on a worldwide level is because it offers eccentric works. Right now, only Japanese animation offers bizarre stories where you truly can't predict what will happen next. Nagamine compares the position of Japan in animation to that of France, and
Haute couture.
Japanese anime creators are like French designers. You could say the whole world is anxiously waiting to see what kind of strange creators they'll put out next. On a more practical note, he also mentions the importance of Japanese anime predominantly being produced for television. As airing shows rotate every 3 months, there's a constant turnover of new titles that satisfy a wide range of taste. As an antithesis to Japanese animated works, Nagamine cites the works of Disney and similar Western studios, which he considers to be formulaic. I think overseas fans of animation are already tired of predictable Disney-style works. Ironically, Toei has at occasion been referred to as the Disney of Asia, for how it pioneered animation production in the region. Toei Animation's producer and advisor Shinji doubles down on this perspective, commenting, "Japanese anime comes from comics. There is a great care put into the characters. Disney, on the other hand, has predetermined storylines, and there's always a happy ending. In Japanese anime, you may see a protagonist die halfway through, or a villain turn out to be a hero. It is made to be satisfying even for adults. Although anime is a large-scale commercial export, its roots lie in the niche realm of manga, which has been relatively free of restrictions. Shimizu suggests that this is what compelled US audiences who grew tired of Disney to turn to anime. But despite how global it has become, Toei's veterans consider that the appeal of anime lies precisely in its Japaneseness. Shimizu comments, "What the world is paying attention to in anime is Japanese culture, but not things like kabuki or sumo. It's everyday life." Citing examples such as Western viewers' fascinations with the school and campus life of students in Japan. He concludes that Japanese anime has found success by visually presenting aspects of Japanese life that don't exist overseas. On the other hand, an aspect of anime that has changed within the medium's expansion into the global market is undoubtedly the production scale and cost. Although a competition between domestic studios is also a factor, Nagamine says that audiences' expectations are why anime has become so much more detailed with time. If the quality isn't high, you can't win. And when you consider the demands of the overseas market, you have to keep raising the quality. Kadokawa, another big player in Japan's anime industry, has similarly shared plans to shift to higher budget production, which it considers a necessary condition for achieving global commercial success.
Okay. Alright then. A better understanding now. So, yeah, it's not wrong. I like Toei a lot now for saying a lot of those things. First, I gotta agree that our stories have become pretty stale. Like, we all know Disney is in shambles, and it's not just because of activism changing a lot of the formula on our characters. You know, I already just talked about that before switching back to the video. So, storytelling has become very, very lazy. And there's probably just nothing original to tell anymore. And I guess that's how this guy at Japan, Toei, calls it very predictable. It's nothing exciting. So, yeah. We don't have good talent now. And I keep saying the reason is because we have activists in charge. They don't know how to tell a good story. They can't invent their own things. And deep down they know it won't succeed because of their ideologies. So what they do is they hijack popular IPs, take it over, and then use that popular IP to tell their story and stuff to try and, you know, make a lot of propaganda to brainwash people. And then their strategy is when we criticize it, then they try to guilt us by accusing us of all these things. They call you a bunch of isms and ists and all that stuff. So to try to guilt you to like, okay, no, I'm not those. I'm sorry. I'll watch your stuff and I'll try to like it. And then, no, those are bad people. When they try to manipulate you, intimidate you, and control you that way, those aren't good people, and they don't know how to tell good stories. It's not about making money. It's not about telling a good story. It's about a narrative. It's about the messaging. It's about propaganda. They're Marxists, communists. They do these things like they did in the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. All those things, you know. We didn't think it was possible it would happen in our country, but it is. And then these were a lot of the subtle hints that we should have paid attention to, you know. Guys, again, I can't stress this enough. It's not fun, but it's important. You have to know these things. It's like when you're in school. You hate reading. You hate doing schoolwork. When you come home, your free time. I get it. But life goes on. You grow up. You got responsibilities ahead of you. You have to learn these things. You have to care. I'm already like 37, and I have to care about these things that can one day save my life. So, anyway. Where was I? So I got that general idea. I don't think they know about I still don't think they know about our problem with the DEI, the activism, and all that stuff. So, but they have been seeing the action, that our movies and stories are very stale and predictable, and that's why they always try to make their own stuff better, and then come up with some unexpected stuff. And that is the one thing I have big respect for. But I still that all depends on the story, okay? That all depends on the story. Sometimes that depends what decision they make in the story. When you kill off a character that we like, I mean, it all depends, man. Maybe we may not like that, but if it's for a good reason, it all depends. Game of Thrones was a very good story, but they did some pretty bad decisions at the last season and some stuff, you know. I can only stress that, as it all depends on what they decide on, and sometimes the author, the writer, is not always right. So I have through my experience, when I try to interact or read what people post on what they've been watching and talking to each other about how they feel on this show or whatever, then I start to understand about when fans watch their stuff, buy their products, they're the reason the show is still alive. When Star Wars was alive, it was because of us. George Lucas gave us incredible movies, and they gave us the prequels. He got a lot of flack and mixed reviews, and then when Disney took over, and then it's a lot of negative. And then throughout the times we learn about the stuff that we buy, you know, generally speaking, pop culture, you know, it would not be relevant if not for us. So with that said, I feel like sometimes even us fans can decide on the outcome of the story, but I'm not saying like we are in charge of the IP. We help keep it alive when we are invested in it. But we also decide, like on Disney Star Wars, the fans like retcon Disney Star Wars. We just want to forget about it. We don't want to ever re-experience the horrible mishandling of Luke Skywalker. So fans decide, you know, Disney Star Wars does not exist. Forget episode 7, 8, and 9. We just prefer to keep 1 through 6. And maybe Rogue One. I like Rogue One. So that's what I'm trying to level on: the fans deciding and then the author deciding. Sometimes this person's not always right, sometimes the fans are not always right. So like the whole point of being a fan is like always having fun with it, you know? And I'm told before, when I was into Pokemon, and I go to the panels of the voice actors, they tell us it's all up to your imagination. And also some people that, you know, give a vague ending, and then they want to know, does this person end up with this person, or does this person do this? They tell you it's up to you. You use your own imagination. So they just leave us to decide on our own. And I really like that. And that's why I say, like, most of the time the fans decide how the story rolls. Even though it's not in their control to write the story, but we accept whatever is relevant or good or not. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the whole beauty of geek culture, I guess, or whatever. You know, when you're a fan of something, then, you know, I see people write fan fictions of their own to see how this story could have been if it went like this. You know, I love reading fan fiction. And for example, like Evangelion, I love reading different scenarios of how this happened instead of it going how the show went. And most of the time, it's better than the show. But at the same time, I gotta accept how the show is based on the author's reception. I just refuse to acknowledge the rebuilds as canon, because all it feels like is reboot, I guess, because it just repeats it, even though it's a different direction or a remake or not a sequel. You know what I mean? But like, it just doesn't have the same feeling as the original. and I just don't know what I'm watching, and it just isn't good. So I'm conditioned to write that off and just stick to this one, and then have my own imagination of how it would have been if it was like this. So like sometimes I prefer this. There's some elements I like on this. I'll just adopt and then put it into this. But that's the whole idea. People will tell me, that's not how it went. This is canon. This and that. You gotta accept it. Like, no, I don't. That's not how being a fan is. That's not how being a geek is. No. And even when I tell someone, like a show I like, this is how it goes, they will tell me the same thing. I don't care. This is how I believe. This is how, and like, fine. We go to conventions, and these people will geek about what they like, but they also like to express their own imaginations and how they like to see it that way. So we can bring up facts to them, but the whole point is this is the escapism. Anything can go, and then you write your own ending. So that's what I like interpreting, and that's what I like losing myself in. And I'm still like in Twitter fights with people about stupid shit like that, and it can get tiring. You just don't engage in it. But if you just can't stop making your point, then just take it like a silly banter. I guess just Twitter's life is just about fights. Either roll with it, learn to have fun, or just get off it, or just stay out of topics and don't engage in anything. But that's what I'm trying. That's the point I'm trying to make. So when I am learning about how this company tries to make anime shows different from Disney. Hold on. Visually presenting aspects of Japanese life that don't exist overseas. That's one thing I miss, okay? Another thing that sucks about our stories and our cartoons, the art is terrible. Look, again, when these activists took over, they probably were trying to save money so they can keep their agendas going, but they just made a bunch of lazy art. The animation is just terrible. The art is terrible and lazy. Like stick figures, two-tone art, no detail, just easy, and just produce it fast. Back then, they probably hired hundreds of people to draw. I miss that. I want hand-drawn animation to come back. I miss Don Bluth stuff. He's older than Miyazaki, and I want him to make another movie before he passes away. Man, if I could meet Donald Trump, I want to ask him to invest in his 2 movies before he passes away, and then revive that dying art someday. But I miss that. That is the art that I want our country to get back. And that's why Japanese animation is popular for that. It's also the only best place to find good quality shows for the art and storytelling. And it makes me sad that we don't have that anymore. We have our own cartoons, and we don't have a lot to offer to Japanese people that just aren't attracted to our stuff because we don't have anything good. And that makes me sad. But they still don't know the good cartoons that we had. And I missed out on a bunch of stuff before. We have Transformers. We have G.I. Joe. We have X-Men. They love X-Men. They love Avengers. They love Batman as well. Those are popular worldwide. But there's other cartoons that we have that I didn't get to watch. I have not seen Thundercats. I want to check that out someday. That's one example. But yeah, we should get back to our good quality art as well, And I guess I'm a bit depressed on that. Like, we have crap now, and they have all the good stuff. It's like they're beating us, and I feel like I'm ashamed of my own country for that because of stupid activists that just ruined everything. I don't know. I'm thinking too much on this. I should appreciate but I'm just thinking too much of the stuff that's just bothering me. I don't know how to put it into words, but it's just the feelings there, and it's really bothering me. Okay, let's get back to the video.
So there's a lot to unbox from this, and there is some red flags here and some green flags. And so let's get into the green flags first. First off, we gotta talk about what the veterans at Toei are saying about why anime became popular to begin with. And that is the fact that it's niche and it's different. It is very different from what you expect from Western culture, what you expect from, let's say, MCU, what you expect from DC, what do you expect from Western films. Anime in general is extremely different from what you see on television or modern television movies within the West. And so a lot of people that have grown tired of the still very safe stories within Western culture, like through Disney, have eventually shifted over into anime, which I think is one of the big reasons to why Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and other series that followed like JJK and Chainsaw Man has blown up to such an extent. It's because they are very different. Even if they are more or less kid-friendly than the average manga that you can see further into the culture, it is still very different, vastly different than what you would see from, let's say, a Disney perspective, or a Disney production. Because when you look at what you see come out, you have very safe stories that doesn't really have, let's say, the main character dying or anything like that. It's just very happy-go-lucky, and they always end on a happy note. But then you have stories like Attack on Titan that obviously doesn't really end on a completely satisfying note in terms of a happy ending.
I gotta stop there because now it's making me remember what else I want to talk about. I had quite a argument or another Twitter. What should I call it? Every time you're on Twitter, you're going to banter, bicker, and fight. So what should I call a Twitter? Twitter banter? Twitter tiff? I don't know. I had a Twitter talk, Twitter Twitter banter about Fullmetal Alchemist, and I'm bringing this point up because of what this guy just said on this Toei guy saying it's predictable from Disney because they always giving happy endings and stuff, whereas anime shows they become unpredictable when they want to give a sad ending or just kill off a character and stuff. So Fullmetal Alchemist, I kept saying well, first, the post was about Brotherhood. There's two versions of Fullmetal Alchemist. The original, the 2003 premiere release, and then Brotherhood. Brotherhood is 100% more faithful to the manga. And when I called the 2003 version of Fullmetal Alchemist original, that sparked the debate and conversation. And it just didn't stop, okay? Because the main issue they have is me calling it the original. They didn't want me to call that the original because the original is based on whatever the source material is 100% faithful to. But the general definition of original is what came first. That's it. And they just would not leave it at that. They just wouldn't. We just kept going back and forth about the original, and they saying I'm doing a disservice to the creator of the series by calling the 2003 version the original, and they keep insisting on that because they personally didn't like it. You know, they I mean, that's one thing to not like it, okay? It's another to like dictate not dictate, okay, but just like steer my opinion to their perspective, okay? And I stayed on my track, okay, because I know what I'm talking about. I felt it's what I said. Original. It's just not complicated, guys. It was the first show to premiere before Brotherhood, okay? And they got half of it done with the manga, but this is common. When the manga is still in works, and then the anime catches up, the show catches up, then, the manga still has to catch up. They still have to continue before the show can proceed. But the show is going so fast that it's getting too far ahead of the manga. So now, what do they have to wait until this guy can continue? Well, no, because the show's already so popular and people are still watching. They want more. Now they have to stall before the manga can catch up. But because it's going too far ahead, now they have to. Because if they change direction, now they have to change the story. Okay. That's a risk, I've seen that happen with Naruto. I've seen that happen with One Piece, and Bleach. okay, no, I mean I stopped One Piece. So like the last thing I saw in One Piece was when they were up in the sky. Like, I mean, this is too much. I'm done. Like, it's never gonna end. Now I'm not talking about One Piece. I don't know if Inuyasha did the term called fillers. A lot of anime watchers don't like fillers. I like them. I like to see characters do something outside the story for a change. You know, you like take a break from the story, do something that you like to see them do on an everyday life. You know what I mean? They don't like that. I like it. Okay, but the reason they do that is because they're killing time while the manga catches up, and then the show can get back onto the story to catch up again. That's common. I feel is normal. Okay. So, Fullmetal Alchemist probably went too far, and then they decided, okay, I'll just give it a new direction and a new plot, and then we'll give it a different ending. I personally love that ending a lot more than the manga, because when Brotherhood aired, and then it showed everything the manga shows, and then I get, oh, okay, so in the comic, this is how it was originally intended. So the villain is not this lady, it's this Flask, this black matter guy with a creepy cartoony face that wants to have the knowledge of everything in the universe, and then he got carried away, and then yeah, he has a god complex, and then things reverse, and now he's out of the picture. Now in this original, the 2003 one, it's a lady that is stealing life to stay alive, you know. And then the biggest plot twist is on the other side of the gate to the real world. And like, wow. Oh my gosh, he is in Germany back then. That took me by surprise. That really let my imagination run wild. And like, imagine an anime character into the real world. And of all places, for once, it's not Japan. It's in Europe. England, whatever, you know. And Nazi Germany, like, dude. I wanted to see that kind of thing. Because the world in Fullmetal Alchemist reminds me of that, okay? The uniforms, the structures, the lifestyle, all that stuff. Yes, he does use chopsticks and shit, okay? But it's still, the whole lore in there is just, I love it. And now he's in the real world. That's why I love the original. But it's not just that. The gloomy, dark vibe there is much darker than Brotherhood. Seriously, Brotherhood is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I love that it travels a majority around the whole land, the whole world there that's created. The plot twist was pretty epic. Like, it tied it all up and everything. I really like Brotherhood. Not 100%. I like a majority of it. Probably did the manga like 100% service. But this is just my opinion. The original 2003 one just captivated me a lot more than Brotherhood. So this is when I say it all depends on the author, on the writer, the direction, whatever it decides to do. It is so hard to tell a good story. It is so hard to throw us a curveball at something good. To me, it was good. And it's just me because, you know, it's possible. Not everybody likes the 2003 version, okay? I'll give you another example, okay? The first season of Negima. I like Negima. Mahou Sensei Negi Magi, okay? So the manga is way longer than you think about the anime show because it didn't go very far. Okay? It only had 26 episodes. But it went too far ahead of the manga. And Ken Akamatsu was far from done. He just wanted to keep going. And I just don't think they had the money to keep the show going. So they had to wrap it up with a total 180 curve to a different direction, okay? So it gave us something that a lot of people just didn't like. Not even the author. Not even the manga art. Not even Ken Akamatsu. He hated it. That's what I heard, okay? I'm just taking the words of the what I read, okay? Do I still like it? Yes and no, but not love it, okay? Because I didn't know the manga and I just read it after the show, and then, but yeah. First of all, the quality of the show was average, and the ending was more of a depressing, sad, gloomy premise of the death of a protagonist over something unexpected, and then they just rushed it. They just rushed the ending. It just wasn't that good. No. So when they make a second season, it's like a reboot, you know? And then it was totally different, and it was a lot of fun. But the first season was something that I feel like, okay, this wasn't that good, and I totally feel people that just did not like the Fullmetal Alchemist 2003 version. I keep calling it the original. That was the main argument that these people had with me calling it. Jeez, throat. They did not want me to keep calling it the original. And those are the kinds of anime fans I don't like dealing with. Okay, I'm not a fanatic anime fan. A hardcore anime fan like those kinds of people, okay? It's something that kind of just makes you so driven that you have to get facts or just things right according to what is set, or something that just I guess it's just on their attitude. I guess that's more of a complaint I have with those kinds of people. Look, I can research some things to see what is factual on the story. Like, I can acknowledge these things, okay? But I just don't want to be like those kinds of people that their assertive insistence on, like, it has to be this way. Why? I have my own perspective. I have my own views. I have my own personal preference and what I like and dislike. And then when I call things like, but no, I'm not gonna go by how you want me to. I'll pull up the tweet, the post I have on Twitter. I always keep things. Wow. Oh well, you yourself too. Oh, these people. They get triggered so much and shit. Okay. Let me look for it. I guess sometimes I can't do them justice when I talk about it. I gotta show you. Not that one. Oh my gosh. It gets so ridiculous. I'm almost there. Yes, this one. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So it starts with this. Man, I missed this series. So this is Ed confessing to Winry about how he feels about her, but in his own way. Okay. I personally feel that threw me a curveball. Whatever. I just don't know how to take it, but whatever. I like it. The ending was a good ending on Brotherhood. But sometimes a sad ending or an ending that doesn't have that doesn't have a happy ending like that, it makes it so unique. So with the ending in the original Fullmetal Alchemist, like, it's good to have a happy ending, but it's unique to have something that can make you think deep thoughts. So, like, in Fullmetal Alchemist, if you've seen the 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist, okay? If you've seen the ending, it's like separate ways, new paths, new goals, new sets of mind. I think that's just as realistic as a happy ending, if not more realistic. Because not everyone achieves a happy ending. For example, I'm still single. I want to have a family someday, and if it doesn't happen, then your new goal is your new path to find something different. I think that unique ending is something I can relate to more. So, that ending and the ending of Evangelion with the true ending to me, okay? I still refuse to canonize the rebuilds. The end of Evangelion's ending is the end of the whole series of Evangelion. That is a pretty fucked up ending in a way that, like, everything is gone. So now, yeah, the whole ending of that, pretty depressing, but it just hit me so hard that is what makes it a good, unique ending, and I fucking had that. I was facing the camera, and you were still looking at the Twitter post, okay, so I'm sorry, I was trying to look at you, and then, like, shit, I forgot to turn that off. Okay. The ending in Fullmetal Alchemist is unique with different pathways. And the ending of Evangelion hits you so hard deep that it makes you think of so many, oh my gosh. You learned this lesson, don't let that happen to you. So that's what I mean. And that's probably what Toei means with the whole, you know, it's predictable happy ending, it's nice and all, but anime is different when it decides to kill off a character or not give you a happy ending. That I can respect. But back to this when I'm talking about the Brotherhood. So yeah, there you go. It says, I missed this series. I said, I prefer the original. I got 7 likes, but I already got a conversation going by people. So this guy, I wouldn't really call 03 the original. 03 means 2003. Because really, Brotherhood is the original story done justice. You prefer the altered, new version in the 03 anime, which is entirely valid, but don't call it the entirely changed version of the story, the original. I said, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the first show that's not called Brotherhood. And so I said, yeah, that's what they said. The one not called Brotherhood isn't technically the original because it doesn't follow the original story. That being the manga, whereas Brotherhood does follow the original story. I said, it's the original meaning. It's the first FMA show premiered. That's all I mean. That's all I was talking about. And then he says, yes, I know that's your intent, but I think calling it the original is a little unfair to the actual original story. I don't care. I'm still calling it the original because of its meaning. The original means the first show that premiered. Nothing against you preferring it. At least you can acknowledge that. I'm sure it's great, but for both clarity and respect, I think it would be better if you just called it something like FMA 3. I don't want to call it that. I'm calling it the original. I can either call it FMA or Brotherhood. I only call it the original for its first air premiere. I don't read the manga, and FYI, the manga itself is just called FMA, not Brotherhood added. And that's true. The manga itself is just called FMA, never called Brotherhood, because the anime was supposed to be called that, but when it deviated from the story, then they had to make it again and call it something else, Brotherhood. Yes, I'm aware. Nothing you've said has disproved or even remotely impacted my point in any way. And I said, dude, who cares? Again, I only watched the show, and the original is the first one that aired. That's it. I don't have any other reason. And then this guy has to call in Grok, the AI, to explain to me what original means. Can you explain to this person that just because one show was released first, it doesn't make it the original, as it doesn't follow the source material, which is in fact the original? And then Grok has to say, gets involved. Yes, certainly. The manga by Arakawa is the original Fullmetal Alchemist story in 2001. The 2003 show was the first adaptation, but diverged heavily, creating a new narrative. Brotherhood faithfully follows the manga's plot, making it the original in terms of source material adherence. Release order doesn't define originality here. Thank you, Grok, for enlightening us. Blah, blah, blah. And then I looked up original. When you buy a car from its original owner, you know it's only been owned by one person. Original means the very first. That's it. While he says in terms release order doesn't define originality here, it does define the first. Not everybody follows Grok on everything. Sometimes it ruins Twitter when you're trying to have a conversation or look things up, because AI does not adapt to human interactivity. It's scary that it tries to, you know. I've seen it try to meme up. I'm just not comfortable with AI all the time, you know. Anyway, this is all I mean. Original means the very first. It comes from the Latin word origineum, which means the beginning or birth. Whether you're using it as an adjective to describe something that is literally the very first, or as a noun meaning something that serves as a model for making copies, original means first. Even when you describe an original idea, meaning something fresh or unusual, you're talking about the first idea of its kind. Hey man, you can disrespect Arakawa if you really want, but personally, if I saw someone calling what's basically a fanfic of my work... Oh, see, that's fucking, like, fuck off, okay? You know, we call Star Wars... We call Disney Star Wars fanfic. Because it was a terrible story. It was a terrible story. But that's just a subjective opinion. Of course, it's always going to be an opinion from people that just watch Star Wars or, you know, even likes Disney Star Wars, you know. Again, this is all about being a geek. You cannot convince people because they're just never going to see eye to eye on us, you know. So, like, when they're calling this a disrespect to Arakawa just because I want to call this the original, you're just being exactly what I don't like dealing with people, you know. I don't know if I should call it toxic or stuff. I don't want to call it that. But I'm just saying this kind of attitude is why I don't like dealing with this kinds of people. If I saw someone calling what's basically fanfic of my work the original, I'd be kind of hurt. Can't say for sure if Arakawa would. I'm not her, but just to be safe, I try to show her a bit more respect. Dude, will y'all just take chill pills? I'm literally talking about what premiered first, which in terms is called the original. That's it. I don't care about the manga because I don't read them. I'm using a literal term of what original means. What came first? In this topic, I'm talking about the show. The 2003 came first, and that's what I'm referring to. It's not complicated at all. I could care less if it didn't follow its source material 100%. It's still a fantastic piece to me, and I much prefer it over Brotherhood. Don't tell me why I'm disrespecting calling something isn't what you want me to call it just because that's not what I'm doing. Quit being so triggered. And again, I'm not at all critiquing your preference. It is entirely fair for you to prefer FMA 03. It would just generally be more clear, more respectful, and easier, as in less effort, to just call it FMA 03. I'm doing nothing but trying to help you. I did not ask for your help. I'm still calling it the original based on definition of it being first in the first premiere. Stop insisting otherwise. And how the fuck am I... You know, it's your opinion to see that I'm disrespecting. I am just being literal about it. You know, I'm calling it what I want to call it. And he's still insisting I call it. And I'm telling him to stop insisting. And you know what he said next? That's fine. I was just trying to give my perspective. I have nothing against you on the subject. You're MAGA, so I don't know why I expect you to have empathy anyway. Well, bye. And then he blocked me. Has blocked you. This is the kind of fucking trigger-happy people that just hate dealing with someone that's a MAGA guy, okay? So once again, when someone's dealing with someone that's a MAGA, then they're afraid, or they just don't like you, and they don't want to deal with you, whatever. And then they just block you. Look, that's a fucking coward move. I don't do that. I don't do that anymore, or I probably never did. I don't know, but you know, I learned from Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. He never blocks people, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna do the same, because if you block someone, you're letting that person win, and like. What are we competing? I'm not letting him win. I just don't want to deal with that. Yeah, then you just don't block people, you know? It's a cowardice move. So it just means that you're afraid. So when you block somebody, they're not interested in having a conversation with you. That's not being civil. It's just being a child. You don't block people just because you don't like dealing with somebody, okay? I don't do that. If I don't want to deal with somebody, I walk away. I only block people when I'm being harassed or doxxed or threatened, all right? That's the main reason you block people. But be an adult and just take whatever someone throws at you without having to run away, you know? That's childish. So this guy here, blocked me for not for not respecting my my choice, you know? And I have to keep telling people, you know, being a geek is how you interpret things. Your own way of talking, your own way of preference, your own way of calling things, okay? So you can't make people do this. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm dealing with some people like that just are triggered over MAGA people, you know. But I got, you know, I drifted quite a bit on this. So now I gotta get back to this and just finish the video. Sorry guys, that was a lot of talking here and deviating. So let's get back to it.
Vinland Saga could be in a similar way for some people. You have, like, you know, stories like Hunter x Hunter as well. Obviously has a lot of dark conclusions. JJK as well. Chainsaw Man, you get the point. They speak for themselves. And the point is that a lot of people that have gotten into anime, especially even from the very beginning, probably got into anime and manga because it is different. And so, what this showcases is the reason why you have such a popularity of it is because it sets itself apart. And it's clear that the industry veterans, for instance, like Toei Animation, for instance, is aware of this. They're aware of the Japanese-ness of anime. They are aware of how it is, how it's presented, and they don't want to replicate what Disney does. And I think that is a good sign. That is legitimately a good thing to hear about, because obviously the worrisome sign is that Japan might try to become the same as Disney, or become similar to Western culture, and produce content that is basically what we already get from Disney.
Now, I want to stop right there, and then this is the one I kind of want to, I don't know if argue is what I'm trying to do, but you see, I follow this other user on Twitter that posts stuff on Japanese politics. He also posts stuff on anime stuff as well. And I get posts that says this guy keeps generalizing Western culture when it comes to like bringing DEI or woke ideologies into anime stuff. And that's what I flagged him on, or just tried to argue against, because, you know, growing up in the past, that was not Western culture. What we have now is activists with Marxist ideology, and it's doing that to everything in the world. It's been in our country now, and then it's infiltrated the UK, and then other places around the West there, and now it's trying to do the same to Japan. And Russia's like the biggest continent in China. I think they're smart to stop all that stuff. And nobody messes with Russia. But anyway, I don't like it when they generalize Western culture that way, because it's not Western culture when it comes to DEI and woke ideologies, Marx, whatever, you know, because that's a brand that's outside of every culture. It's an ideology of one thing that just wants to destroy everything good. But they're calling it Western culture because it's coming mainly from the United States. And I keep having to correct this person, you know, this is not Western culture. Don't generalize Western culture this way, because it's not what it is. It's woke ideology. So what this guy from Toei is like saying, it's they're trying to make things Japanesey. Well, generally speaking, people like it when anime keeps its influence on Japanese culture and stuff. But this also goes back to what I'm trying to say about this is about actually another topic that I'm going to get into after that. I want to say that, Western culture should not actually have to be like a negative influence per se, because we localize anime shows like Pokemon into the West, and then they had to change things to appeal to Western audiences, and and anime fans hate 4Kids for doing that stuff, and that's another thing I hate, dealing with anime fans that have those kinds of things, like. I have to say, it all depends what it is. So, when Pokemon was localized and they changed a lot of stuff, I liked all that stuff that actually was pretty creative and fun and funny. You know what I mean? And it's not like the jelly filled donuts in the Japanese version. They're rice balls. And yeah, the show that we got here in the U.S. when it was localized, it was still rice balls, but they call it jelly filled donuts. And then so people memed it, and they show the donuts in the rice ball. That's not a rice ball. It's just a coconut flakings, and inside is the dough or the cake, and then the jelly in the center. I want to try that someday. I want to make it someday. But that's what I mean. So I like I like that creativeness that they do to surprise us. So they changed the foods to donuts, the sandwiches that roll down the hill. I remember that was pretty funny. But my favorite is when Team Rocket, when they had to share the one rice ball to all three of them. But in the US version, it was one graham cracker. That was the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen. That is the funniest change. Okay, that is like, is that enough to feed you all? It's even less than the rice ball. A graham cracker. Oh my gosh! And then they had a great team in 4Kids. Those people really cared. I really want to make a video talking about that someday. So like, when I talk about those things, that's when I have my own perspective on anime shows and the localization, and generally speaking, now I want to get into the whole how I feel like when they keep trying to generalize Western culture as like the negative, like they don't want that to influence anime from Japan to keep it Japanese or whatever. I'm just saying, okay. So that's one thing that I wanted to counter argue over this thing, but I know deep down what they're talking about in this. They don't want anime to be influenced by woke ideologies. That is the main concern that we have, that I have. I don't want woke ideologies to infect our entertainment. That includes anime from Japan right here.
And that has been a global concern, or a concern for a while now, for years that's been growing, ever since anime has continued to get a lot more popular. So the fact that this was said by industry veterans is a good thing. It is an actual good sign. However, what is the red flag here, the elephant in the room that does need to be talked about, is Kadokawa's statement at the bottom. Kadokawa is a big company, a massive company. You might remember them that they were potentially going to be bought out by Sony. I talked about this extensively last year, and I think at the beginning of this year. But it was a pretty big deal, and it still is, because it could still happen. Kadokawa is massive. They have a lot of stuff they own. And the fact that Kadokawa just straight up said that they are wanting to up production might seem like good news, but it's not. And let's explain. We got to look at a recent example here of Marvel, actually. I mean, Disney is relevant to the conversation, so it is relevant. Marvel has been doing high budgets for all their films as of late for the last few years. Like, so much. Millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars on their movies. And the budgets have gotten absolutely insane. Just out of hand, honestly, for movies. And so when a movie isn't done well, or isn't bought enough, or people don't see it, it's just a colossal failure. And it's becoming more and more unrealistic to continue producing stuff that's that high of a budget. And obviously the Fantastic Four that recently came out has been brought into the public eye for this conversation. And obviously there's a lot of content creators that have talked about this in more of an extensive light than I will here, but it's clearly a problem, and a lot of people are aware of it. And so Kadokawa going out of their way to basically say that they want to raise budget for anime seems like a good thing, but it might become a spiral and get out of control to the same degree as what we clearly see in Hollywood and other Western films and stuff like that. For instance, from Disney, we see these budgets reach astronomical heights, and then the series doesn't do so well, so it makes you wonder how they even going to be able to continue because they're losing so much money. And so they will have a systematic effect of trying to play it safe to get as much audience to watch it, but then it turns more people away, and they lose the nature of why people wanted to watch anime to begin with. So I think there is some red flags here that obviously is an early warning sign to anime becoming like Disney, becoming like the West, and I hope I'm just actually doom posting or just saying stuff and being a doomer and this doesn't lead to anything. But we have seen this systematic effect already happen multiple times with different companies within the Western world, so it's very likely I am right on the money in calling this out correctly. Could be wrong, but it's very likely. So, overall, the big takeaway from this is that you clearly have industry veterans that are aware of the importance of keeping anime like anime, but then you have big companies like Kadokawa trying to produce a bigger budget, which could lead to anime eventually not being anime and becoming more of like a cartoon or like Western cartoons or anything like that, and playing it safe to make more money. We will see where this goes, but a very fascinating article, honestly. I will link this in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, but thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, that one thing I agree is to keep anime. I guess the charm and the way they design the style and their typical expressions in some ways, you know. I have my own preference of what I prefer, but yeah, the way that they keep anime looking like that, yeah, but also their charm and just generally, you know, let them do their thing, let them express their work and art the way they envisioned it, because that's what artists do. So we don't want any changes going in that way just because somebody is not liking how they write things or getting offended or whatever, you know. So let's see some comments here. Japan has the right to preserve their culture in their media. Japan must protect their culture at all costs. I mean, who would want to be like Disney or the MCU? Shouldn't even be the controversy. This is absolutely based. Well, good for Japan. Stand on your ground and fight back. We love anime manga, please, because it's Japanese, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah, see, and fan service. That's what I mean. They want that. They want the same. They want the sexy stuff and the girls showing skin and everything. So that's what I mean. The fan service, the sex, it sells. They just want to keep seeing more of those women to fap to. For me, I still like the old stuff. But see, this is where the market goes. They want the sex. They want the, you know, the same stuff that I'm seeing nowadays that just isn't to my liking. People hate that. I personally don't care though. See, the conversation can shift. America has a right to control what? America has a right to control these things. It comes with being objectively superior. Just like China. You are copying other people's work. Are you Chinese? What does this say? The new bill threatens freedom of expression in anime. If the new cybersecurity treaty is ratified, anime will be subject to censorship for sexual depictions of characters deemed to be under the age of 18 or excessive violence. This would obviously lead to the decline of Japan's content industry. Respect to Japan, the birthplace of anime. Yeah, we all got into Japan's animation media because it offered something different. Whether it was something well-known, aka the gateways or something, that's the opposite, but still just as fascinating at least to those that view them. They don't have to be or make stuff outside of their country, and even if they do, I still hope they keep their own style in writing, directing, design, animation. See that there? The style. The style is what I refer to anime as. The TA of the anime are still people in Japan. They pretty much didn't care about overseas audience. Somehow, that makes them doing a better job that DEI bullshit is not contaminating them, right? DEI. That's what they have to keep an eye out. I would say one of the major concerns is increased interest in West investors in Japanese pop culture, stuff and how they can get their hands on X projects, which is a real possibility. If my memory isn't wrong, Japan has a law which set a ceiling for foreign investors to interfere with what Japanese companies do. Right. It should, then that's good. Yeah. Oh, what's this now? It names a show I like. I remember the first wave of Isekai. No, I don't know what that was. Escaflowne. The main in one has to be resuscitated, and the main guy bleeds and screams in agony. That you won't see in Disney. The first Isekai, I don't know what that word is. The fantastic travels of Lita was inspired in Dream Warrior Valis, and her armor is a bikini armor, and yet for small OVA was philosophical. She wants to find the courage to find the words to ask for a date. Yes, in the beginning of the show. Yes, a woman asking for a date or of finding the meaning of love, or Utena, the story of what it means to be an adult with all the good and bad you won't see in the Western cartoons. Yeah, I remember. I love Escaflowne. So, in the beginning, the main character is a schoolgirl named Hitomi. So she's into tarot cards, and she's trying to pursue her love interest. So she wants to get the courage to confess, and then she was going to prove to him by running the track field, and then something interrupted that, and then a dragon comes in, and then the guy from another world comes in, and then she travels back with him by accident to the other world, and then things change. When it was localized, they made big changes to that. It is what this this comment says. Where is it? Oh, right here. Where is it? I'm trying to find that word. Where is it? Resuscitated? I guess. Basically, they downplayed her character because they wanted to make the male character the main protagonist, the main interest of the show, you know? But it was impossible to do because a lot in the show, the guy relies on the girl. So it was not possible to change that, and I think they just did a poor job, and they just could not continue on airing that. But the intro kicks ass. That's all I can say. Still, I liked it, but when they localize something and they try to change it, their main focus was always to try to appeal to Western audiences. They felt that boys are not into girls. So they probably just wanted to localize Escaflowne because of its awesome adventure and action. And it does have that. But the only flaw to them back then was there was a girl that was important to the story. And they just wanted to make the male character more of the main spotlight. So that would attract them to watch the show. They couldn't do it. They did their best, but it just wasn't working out. And I guess the ratings were not doing so well, so they could not finish airing it. But the rest probably is finished online, so I guess you can watch those if you want. And they made some changes in the noises from what I heard, and yeah, they censored the blood as well. That was too much. So there's blood. Yeah, they had to censor that. I also did not know that in Pokemon, in the first episode, Misty slaps Ash, and that's gone. All this time, I had no idea until I learned, oh my gosh, that's what she did? Twice, actually. In the first episode and the third episode. They think that was too much for kids to handle? I don't know. There's always a reason things happen. Rarely you find something happen for no reason. But anyway, people just didn't like that. But at least you got to understand, appeal to Western audiences back then. But times have changed. Now they want things to just remain untouched. I am still holding on to that part of localization, of changing some things that, that can appeal to Western audiences. There are times when I just really want creative writing to write something that I can reference back to. Like I remember watching Tokyo Ghoul. I didn't like that show. But there's one reference this guy said when he was fighting this girl. He says, "I'll get you, wascally wabbit," because she was wearing the bunny ears. So there you go. There's one. That is the only thing I like when they put that line there. That's what I like. That's just me, okay? But I really do think that you can reel up a good audience with that kind of stuff when you give us something to Western. Because again, our stuff is fading. Our shows are being forgotten. I love Looney Tunes. There's Tom and Jerry and the Flintstones. I remember the Flintstones, the Jetsons, and there's so much stuff that people are forgetting about. And we're not getting anything new. And again, it's because we have activists in control and we're not getting good creative work going on anymore. Okay, so that's that. Now I have another topic to get into. Okay. Where's the? I gotta look for this post now. I'm not showing it, right? Okay. Yeah. Don't want you to see everything I post. I don't think it's here. Let me go to my... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Will you just get it right? Replies. That's butter. Butters are now being made out of carbon? Nasty. Ah, here it is. Okay. Okay, I found it. Okay, one more topic about anime, and then we'll talk about games. Here's this post by Automation West. Not all manga has to be from Japan. Major manga publisher Kadokawa looks for new manga artists overseas amidst labor shortages. I understand. And I agree. Not all manga has to be from Japan. Now, we have Savvy here. There is no shortage of talent in Japan. This is DEI being pushed now that they were bought. Called it. Oh, so it's not confirmed that's what's going on? Well, don't worry. I have the link of here pulled up. We'll read about that. And then I said, but there are good manga artists in the West. Maybe they can apply for this job. So, I've been to conventions. I've talked to people online. They do make manga art. And it's probably their passion or their little hobby. But I've seen them do some of that and it looks good. But they're just very few people, I think. And I just said, maybe those people can apply for this. So what are the comments says? Just make sure to label it properly. Anime is from Japan. Animated is from the West. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. I resent that statement. There's no way Japan lacks talented artists. No one wants DEI. Yeah, this I agree. The main concern is not talent from Japan or this. Anime had to be in Japan. This bullshit. That's not the concern. That's not what this is about. This is about this. DEI. This is the concern. Keep manga and anime Japanese, yeah. This is what I'm trying to get at because this is confusing, okay? Now let's see what the conversations go. You're thinking of the global audience, what people also call the modern audience as well. When Kadokawa means global market, they mean expanding its influence everywhere and selling it around the world. There's no mention of the modern audiences nor of DEI. Okay? And then he gets laughed at. This is what people do, okay? So you do not expect a lot of do not expect a lot of serious conversations going on, because people just like to make fun of everybody, you know? I deal with that all the time. I've been sitting on fire. I mean, that definitely would be better than fucking campfire. Whatever. I think they're referring to stuff like Radiant. This? Okay. Anyway, we're gonna read this that I just have pulled up right here. I think this is it. Oh, automation. Well, I have a screen rant right here, but let's go here. Let's take an honest look. Not all manga has to be from Japan. Major manga publisher looking for artists overseas amidst labor shortage. So people are going to speculate that this company is bought out by some activists and then they want to push DEI policies. I hope Japan is smart to not include that, okay? Because we know how they operate. Recently, Kadokawa announced the results of their Wordless World Manga Contest, featuring over 1,000 entries from over 100 different countries. The goal of the contest was to promote Japanese manga and discover up-and-coming manga artists from all over the globe. In a recent interview with Oricon News, members of Kadokawa's overseas manga editorial team shared their goals for worldwide expansion and emphasized the necessity of broadening the talent pool of manga authors in Japan and overseas. Due to the popularization of digital comics in recent years, the number of supply points for manga has drastically increased compared to the past. However, there aren't enough manga artists to meet the demands of the market, and our editorial teams have urgently taken on the task of scouting talented newcomers, said Risa Tomisaki, member of Global Digital Book Office and Overseas Manga Editorial Department. So all this is ebook, electronic books. You can download, buy, and read them on your phone now. Nobu, I've seen a lot of Japanese people read that while I was on the train there, you know, on their phones reading mangas and stuff. Anyway, Noboru Sagawa, IP executive producer, heading multiple departments related to overseas publishing, stated that there is a particular shortage in the sphere of comic adaptations of light novels and books in the isekai genre. Despite the abundance of source material, there are overwhelmingly not enough manga artists that could make the adaptations, and many companies are competing to secure talented artists. However, Sagawa remarks, just joining the competition to secure talent won't solve the fundamental issues of workforce shortage, as it doesn't contribute to expanding the talent pool. Devising ways to discover and nurture popular authors is a crucial mission for our manga editors. He notes that is the reason why Kadokawa decided to explore the wide sea of overseas manga artists and look for future talent there. I mean, I said before that I have seen artists in conventions here in the US. I've seen them draw anime style, manga style, whatever. I even hired a freelancer, not necessarily from Japan, probably from Korea or whatever. They have drawn that before. I can even pull it up if I want. I don't know if I have it right now in hand. As a matter of fact, let me just go here so you don't see my computer. I just want to prove a point, okay? Where is it? Hand-drawn art. Well, yeah, hand-drawn art too. But I'm looking for... Maybe it's on my book. Evangelion comic. I don't know. Let's just search that for a moment. I have a 12 terabyte book, which is an external hard drive. every external hard drive I've bought has always been just 1 TB. I need more. I don't want to keep swapping them. So this one has 12 terabytes. Money well invested into something that's crucial. I love looking at my PC. I love my Evangelion style desktop. I got it on eBay, and I think that's the only one left. I wanted to get a second one in case something happens to it, and I have a backup. Now they're all gone. I don't know if I'll find another one like it. Oh, I'll at least preserve the case. But I just love that water block there. And the motherboard, man. I think those are the two main things I want to keep. The power supply, I wish could have been more power watts than what it is. But just because it's the theme that's part of it, I took it. Still, if something happens to that, I have a 1000 watt that's also an Evangelion theme. But, I don't know, I think it'll barely fit in there. We'll see. Man, my previous computer was so big and heavy and bulky. It was crazy. Boy, that's taking quite a while. Dark Force, welcome. How are you? By any chance, were you tuning into what I was talking about? We were talking about anime stuff. I'm good, man. Hey, since you're here, maybe we can discuss something because I need, I want to get a conversation going. You watch anime? Do you read manga or manga? Oh my gosh. Okay, fuck it. What was I thinking? I'm just gonna go to my my backups. See if I have any. Oh man. Oh, that's too much. Oh, no, not that one, not that one. Where is it? Is it on documents? Ah, yes. I think this is it. Yes, found it. Okay. So I'm talking about this article I'm reading that this guy wants to find artists overseas, manga artists, and then people are concerned that it's because they're thinking that they're gonna get some DEI people, but they're also saying like keep manga and anime Japanese, and then things like this stuff that just pisses me off. Where is it? I always can't find where I want to be. This guy basically says anime in Japan and anime in the West, and I was like, shut up. Where is it? I can never I have to make the words literate so I don't forget it. Otherwise my point's not going to be clear. No, not that one. Is it back? Okay. Yeah, this is it. Here it is. This comment right here. Just make sure to label it properly. Anime is from Japan. Anime is from the West. Like, shut up. I resent that. Anime literally means animation. Y'all really need to get a better descriptive for distinction instead of trying to tell Japanese people that their words don't mean what they mean. Exactly. Because Japanese still call cartoons anime. So they're just trying to... They're the ones that... Our anime fans in the West are making up these definitions. And like... You can't just do that. You know, there's no definitive term for something that you... It's just said to popularize Japanese cartoons. They call it anime because it's animation. It's Japanese style animation. And it's been dubbed by the fans as anime. Now, I keep saying style. Because I believe anyone can make anime. And then when I keep calling the Boondocks anime and Castlevania anime fans don't refuse to call it that. They resent that. They resent what I said for Boondocks to be anime because it's not from Japan. And that is horseshit. I still believe it's horseshit. You know, I go to conventions. Artists can make anime art style. And if you refuse to call anime from the West as anime, because it's not from Japan, then you cannot do the same for artists that make anime here in the United States. Hold on a sec. Okay. So as I was saying, this description of what people are calling anime, because it is from Japan, and it has to be from Japanese, is horseshit. Japanese artists have been involved in Western cartoons too. I have learned, or I've been told, that Japanese artists were also involved with the animated Batman series. So like their descriptive is like totally wrong, messed up, and it's not distinct. It's not clear. You know, they're just saying that because they say so, because it's where the market goes. I don't care where the market goes. You know, you can say that anime is marketed well. It's fine. People love anime. That's not the point. That's not the problem. You're labeling that because you're trying to categorize it in a very cryptic way, that because it has to come from Japan. You know, I'm gonna argue also. Food. Caviar is like a French food, like fish eggs, and it's got to come from France for it to be caviar. But are they saying we can't make our own and it's not called caviar? That doesn't make sense. I can understand that the quality of it is high because it's from France and they make better stuff than we do. Fine. But we can still make caviar. Just like tacos, you know? Does tacos have to come from Mexico for it to be tacos? Fuck that. We can make our own tacos. I won't forget when they got mad at us for like voting for Trump, and they say, you know what, don't come to Mexico. Don't eat our tacos. You can have your own tacos or whatever. Fine. We'll make our own tacos. And even Vance says, we can make our own tacos. Or something like that, you know? So, that's my point. Something does not have to be from the country for it to be called that. It's bullshit. It's like, okay, we make hamburgers and hot dogs. But you can make those, but you can't call it that. That is like bullshit patenting nonsense. You patent something that is just called that, okay? Are you going to sue someone for selling hamburgers and then calling it hamburgers? No. No, that's so stupid. Japan sells corn dogs, but they don't call it corn dogs. But that's not the reason they don't call it that, you know, it's just because of, you know, we call it that. It's basically a sausage. I don't get why they call it corn dogs or hot dogs. They call it sausage. It's a little term. Like, I don't care about that. That's fine. But nobody owns the name that you can't use that, or you have to use that, or whatever, you know? So that's my point, you know? I wanted the Boondocks, or no, generally speaking, I wanted anime made in the West, here in the US or in Europe, to be categorized in the anime genre. And people just refuse to have that. And that's one of the reasons I just don't like dealing with those kinds of people. So, I get this, I have this argument all the time, and I just cannot convince people this way. And that goes back to my point of what being a geek is about. Your own preference, your own belief, your own terms and definitions, how you use words and everything, you're not gonna make people go your way or the right way or the proper way and stuff. No, that's not how you be a geek. That's not the whole point of living in a pop culture geek or whatever, you know. Everyone's different. Talk the way you talk, right? So you just can't convince people. That's generally what I'm saying. It's not just because they insist that's what they believe, but the whole premise of being a geek is how you choose to interpret it that way. And it goes in many ways and reasons why you just cannot make people call it how it's supposed to be called. There's no supposed to. It's just how it's supposed to be made. But the names itself, it's just a fucking name. Get over yourself. So when I can't really get people to acknowledge anime in the West as anime, I have decided to just call anime cartoons as well as our cartoons, because it's a one shoe size fits all scenario I'm going with when it comes to calling animated shows what it is, cartoons. Animated is the term of animating drawings to move. So calling cartoons in the West animated, it's another bullshit move to go by, you know. You just don't want to have anything from the West influence in the Japanese stuff, you know. But this is not what this is about. It's DEI we're concerned about. And they're not going to say it that way, okay? Because they're just generalizing the West. This is how I feel when they're saying the West, okay? It's like a negative devaluation, I guess. Like that, putting the West down because we don't have a good culture or something, you know? And like that feels demoralizing, okay? We have a good culture. We had a good culture. And then it's been directed to the wrong direction. But we can still be great again. And it's taking time. Trump is here to fix things first before we can get back to entertainment and back to good culture in the West. It's already been many years of losing good talent, and a few existing ones from the past is old. For example, Don Bluth. I want him to make a movie before he passes away. But he has a school, and his dying art is still relevant, is trying to be relevant, and I want to spread the word to many people as I can. I want to have Don Bluth's art style to come back. I want to see his movies return. I want to see more cartoons made in that style. I want to see, for example, okay, he came to my hometown, which is his hometown too, in El Paso. I made a comment. I would love to see The Legend of Zelda in a series in that art style. I don't remember what he said, but it wasn't gonna be like a possibility. I'm just saying that's a dream I like to have. I like to see that someday. Somebody actually did make a short animation film of that style, and then Link talk and stuff. But it was a good show, a good little video flick there. I would love to see a series made in that style someday, but it's gonna take a lot of hiring of drawing to do that. But do that again. A lot of Americans lost their jobs because of a lot of these stupid activists making DEI, less white people going and Americans and stuff, you know. If they can bring that back, you'll have more jobs for American artists to come in and just draw how it used to be when Disney was still alive and make those art styles come back, you know. I want to see that again. And then we can get back to having great culture in the West, and then Japan will be impressed. Right now, we go to Japan's anime because it's all we have. Because our stuff sucks now. That's the hard truth to swallow now. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get at with this stupid comment here. Okay, back to this article. So I am all for them looking for manga artists overseas, as long as they can do what they do, draw the style that they draw. It can work. It can totally work. And you know, one more thing, okay? This is just me also. a lot of why I love Fullmetal Alchemist is because it doesn't take place in Japan. It takes place in a European style world. I want to see more anime shows like that, but in America, in my country. You know, they studied a lot of Western culture, but I don't think they know a lot about American culture. They're just taking at face value of whatever Hollywood movie they show, but I don't think they take the time to come here and actually learn. I don't know if they actually seen our old movies, our cartoons. Maybe a lot of the school life is exaggerated. Yeah, because it's cartoons. You know, it's like caricature art style and like, okay, whatever. But like, no. I'm sure there has to be some movies and even sitcoms. They can watch some sitcoms about how school life is like in America, and like there could be some good ideas they can have. I have wanted to someday. I think one of my projects is I would like to have or to make my own anime show or whatever that's here in the U.S. I want to make one on a sport, on a 80s style action flick, cliche action flick, and then in an American school life. I want to make an anime art style of these three things. American style. That's what I want to see. We already have the Boondocks. It's just black culture, okay? But it's funny. And there's some anime shows that some Japanese characters travel to New York. You got some shots there, yeah. But I just don't think that's enough, you know, because it's just brief and very few things. I wanted to see some like Baccano and the Black Lagoon or something, and I wanted to see Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, and I've seen Read or Die. There's some scenes taking place in New York, and I think that's just exaggerating stuff. It was pretty cool. But anyway, that's what I mean. That's what I want someday. Someday I want to see that, or I want to do that myself. Okay, back to the article so we can finish this. Sagawa notes that as Japan faces declining birth rates, oh yeah, that's also one of my concerns too, and an aging population, it will become increasingly difficult to create works aimed at younger audiences from a commercial perspective. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for looking for help elsewhere. It's not just in their own country. Yeah, but you got to find the right people. However, he states that there is a potential for such works to succeed in areas with greater populations of young people, such as countries in Southeast Asia. This is why he says the starting point for the works of upcoming manga artists doesn't necessarily have to be in Japan. I agree. On a related note, Kadokawa's anime branch has recently announced plans to raise the production value of their anime and further expand to the global market. One of Kadokawa's officials stated that the industry as a whole must raise the production budget and earn money via the global market, listing countries like Brazil. That is a good choice. I was at I'll finish here. Mexico and India. India? Why India? Huh, they must have seen something there. As new potential candidates for the expansion of the anime industry. Alright, so there you have it. Now, Brazil's a good choice. I was at EO when I was in Japan, and I saw Brazilians showing their invented new indie game. It was a baseball game with some new different rules, and it was okay. But I can already tell that they probably like anime. They still sell Sega games, you know? So, I think that's a good choice. I can imagine there are manga artists and anime artists in Brazil, so I think they'll have some good choices and candidates there. Mexico, yes. I hired a freelancer to draw me some video game art, and he's from Mexico. So, and there are some anime artists as well. Yeah, they do exist around the world. It doesn't have to be from Japan. Whoever's saying that anime has to be from Japan doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, okay? And it's bullshit. I stand by that. I'm staying by that, you know? I don't care what the market says. I don't care what the terms you say on it. Why they call it that, it has to be that, but it's that because that's how they call it in their country, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The term is like the same when I say original. It's the little term. The literal term. The first. The little term of anime is animation. We call it anime because it's Japanese style animation. It does not mean it's from Japan. Yes, anime is born from Japan. The majority of all the anime is from Japan. But again, it's just something that's clear in plain sight to me. You go to conventions, you see artists, they draw anime art too. Are you not going to call that anime just because he's doing it here in this country? That doesn't make any sense. You think I'm going to waste $2,000 to go to Japan to draw anime and have it called anime? Come on, get real. Get fucking real. That's my rant there, okay? That's why if it cannot be anime because it's from the West, then it's just a cartoon. It's just ridiculous. It's just a fucking name. Everyone just likes to make a big deal about it. So I don't behave like that. That's the anime news, okay? So we'll see how that turns out. Now let's talk video games. Oh, fuck, I forgot this one. Screen Rant. Ugh, Screen Rant. We're not like Disney. Okay, fine. Is there anything different here? Well, fine. Okay, I'm sorry. We're not done. Screen Rant. Dragon Ball director addresses anime's global boom with a quiet US diss. I'm pretty sure we're not like Disney. Anime has evolved beyond geek culture enthusiasts to accommodate mainstream audiences. The inclusion of anime on streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus underpins the medium's popularity surge in recent times. To comprehend the 2020s anime boom in the West, a famed executive from one of Shonen's leading franchises elatedly points out the style's defining assets. In an interview with Tatsuya Nagamine, I don't know, a veteran anime director, Dragon Ball, we already know this. The industry specialist suggests that anime outperforms most Disney works in terms of reception due to genre's exclusive traits. The Dragon Ball director emphasizes that anime appeals to all, highlights the medium's super weapon. Super weapon? Japanese anime is made in a way that even adults can understand. It's not predictable like Disney. I think overseas anime fans are already tired of Disney's routine anime. Yeah, okay, so when it says Disney's anime, I'm thinking Disney made anime, or do you mean anime from the West? Okay, I was wrong. It's what I said before. Japanese call cartoons anime. They don't have a term cartoon. If they called it cartoons, they would pronounce it cartoons. But to them, a cartoon is anime. So if you wanna properly label anime from Japan, then tell the Japanese to stop calling cartoons anime. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna win that argument, okay? Because they don't call it that. They call it anime. So you have no distinction or directive enunciation of anime where it's got to come from. You just don't. When people call it from wherever they come from, you know, they're gonna make me call something anime Japan, and you know, I don't want to repeat myself, okay? But this just proves my point. He calls cartoons anime. So I think overseas anime fans are already tired of Disney's routine cartoons. Cartoons. It doesn't matter. You know what he's trying to say. Legendary studios like Toei and Studio Ghibli broke through the Western dominant space by building on anime's arresting traits that now govern the entertainment space. Nagamine notes that the success of anime is another win for the Japanese, considering their success in automobile market through Toyota. I have a Honda. That's a very good brand. Anime is well known for its novel approaches to storytelling that are engaging and rewarding to experience. There's no grossly static formula, as every work shares defining traits, an elevating difference that distinguishes the medium from Western animations. On this note, Nagamine criticized Disney's monotonous routine-like animations that fail to satiate viewers' desire to see something different on screen. Yeah, and I said their stuff's getting stale. Even though anime struggles with everyday portrayals, it's still making an impact globally. Apart from sharing anime's greatest strengths, Nagamine unbiasedly fleshed out the difficult parts of anime production. In his words, it's difficult to express everyday movements. Anime performs well because more often than not, central sequences are greatly exaggerated to achieve a desired effect. Consequently, the focus is on the superfluous, making it... Oh, I'm sorry. Consequently, the focus is on the superfluous, making it hard to pick out unusual elements. Regardless of the medium's difficulty in adapting everyday movements, anime will still excel as the creative style often focuses on escapism as a storytelling tool. Yeah, there you go. So, it's the same what everyone's been saying. The escapism, the unpredictability, and just the style, and yeah, our art is lazy, and there's no talent in a good story. So, that's half of it right, or 3/4 of it right. Japan still does not know our crisis of DEI and activists taking over. So it's only seeing through action. So unless someone tells them what is really going on, they're only going to interpret what they're seeing in action from the West. And, to be fair, they're seeing it too. They still don't know about the Marxist ideologists that have taken over our entertainment and culture. They're just seeing what they are seeing and saying what they see. And, yeah, even though you cannot see what's going on, the cartoons and stories are still telling enough of it's stale, it's just not good. Just bad stories, bad ideas and everything. So yeah, Disney sucks, anime is taking over and stuff. And that's just the bottom line. Now we can talk about video games. So I'm going to pull up 2 games I want to get. 3 or 4, whatever. Okay. I'm gonna put up 4 games I want to show you. All right. Ugh. Just want to pull up a picture to see it up close. There we go. And then this one. I don't think it's in the West yet. Okay. So here's the first one I saw. I have been buying a lot of Sega games, and I've gotten to getting a lot of the Shinobi series. The first one I have is on the Sega Master System, and there's like 2 more on the Genesis. And then I think there's a couple more on other platforms. I haven't checked them out yet. But I think the series is still ongoing. But this one is called Art of Vengeance, and it's a platformer. It's going back to the 2D platformer style of Shinobi. But I think this one is actually more aggressive. Let's check out some of the gameplay. So I was just Googling stuff to see how much it is. Laser Cube. That's awesome. So it's take place in the Neon City and scrapyards. You got jets. The wall climb, ninja claws. So new abilities. You can glide, get some combos. I love the art style. Execution, yeah. I'd love to get into the Shinobi series. Ninjutsus. Whoa. So it's available for pre-order, I guess, so I don't think it's out now. I don't need all this cool stuff. I just want the game itself. But yeah, you can but here I'm looking at PlayAsia. You can get a bunch of games too. Even some region-free ones or Japanese versions, I don't know. But I don't think it's out yet. Code in the box? Don't... Oh, no. I don't want the Switch 2. No. Oh, see, here it is. Okay. There's only European, there's Asia. Okay. No, I'm waiting for the US version. So, it's not out yet. I'm gonna wait until it's available for purchase. But that's what I have my eyes on for now. Alright, here's another one. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So I've bought the Ninja Gaiden series as well on the NES, but 2 of them, just 2. Actually, I've had those for a while. I haven't gotten the 3rd one. It's quite expensive, but I want to get that. There's also Ninja Gaiden on Xbox. That one's really hard, and the character Ryu Hayabusa is also in Dead or Alive. So this one, I think is a different character. I don't know. Let's check out the trailer on this game. Let's check out how this looks. Where's the trailer? There we go. Callback. So new characters. Oh yeah. Now it's the blood stuff. Ooh, you can suspend from the platforms. Similar to Shinobi. Alright, so it's going to be on these platforms, PS5 and 4, Switch, Steam, and Xbox. Of course I'm getting it on this. I don't have either of this or this. Yeah, similar to Shinobi. Different art styles. This one has some cartoon art style, but actually some unique outlines and depth. I love it. And then, of course, you have the... Also the same thing, but I don't know. I think it's slightly different. I don't think I can see the outlines. It's like it's all realistic. So that's awesome too. What do y'all think? You got your eyes on these two games? Hope so. Looks really good. This is the stuff I'm into. Is the indie games or platforming games. Here's another one. This one is called Vigil: The Longest Night. I was about to pre-order it, but they sold out immediately on the first day. Like, that sucks. And I don't want to spend money on the extra stuff, really. So I asked them to put me on the waiting list. This one has Western elements, but this one actually acts like a Symphony of the Night or Metroidvania kind of game. Let's look at the trailer. Ooh. Oh, scary. Definitely like Castlevania. That's an organ playing. I love this. So yeah, it's another platforming action brawler or whatever. Hack and slash, but it's like Symphony of the Night. I don't mind. A lot of these games that I've been buying has been an inspiration from Symphony of the Night. I love that stuff. I love it when a game like gives you so much to do. So this is called Vigil. I think it's Vigil, Longest Night. You find this on super rare games. You gotta be like here. Let me show you super rare games. This is the website, and they have a Discord. They'll announce a game coming, and then when they say it's available for pre-order, man, act fast before they sell out. So wait, do they have the? Oh, I thought this was Ninja Turtles. So if you go to the store, yeah, look how fast they sell out. Look at this. This one's already sold out. Oh, man. And, well, they had the bigger, deal. We'll just put Vigil. They're all sold out. The extra stuff. I think it was this one. Yeah. Oh, no, it's the extra game. No, that's not what I was talking about. No. That's okay. It was just a bigger, they just have more stuff to offer when you get it. I ordered this one. This one looks pretty neat. You're some fox on a bike and you're shooting around. I totally recommend you check this out. Oh, nearly sold out. What's it? The last year of Nostalgia or what? Hold on. What? Deluxe edition. What am I looking at? I'll have to check that out someday. Full details? Huh. Okay, you can watch the trailer here. Alright, no, I don't think so. So that's Vigil. I'm gonna wait and hope that I can get my own game. Otherwise, I'll have to settle for a bit of a high jacked up price on eBay. One more game here. This one was on Nintendo Direct, or not Nintendo Direct. It was another Direct for indie developers. Mina the Hollower. This one, I mean, this is the same company that made Shovel Knight. I reckon the music is going to be amazing, but just look at this trailer. Dude, that's so cool. This mouse reminds me of an American Tail. Is that a whip? I think so. It is a whip. It reminds me of American Tail and Castlevania mixed in, but the gameplay is like Zelda. Overview and just walking around and stuff, but the music is just badass. Nice, nice, nice. I love these indie games with this 8-bit look and art. I mean, the music style, you know. So those are the games, at least 4 of them that really catches my eye. I haven't watched the indie direct. What was it called again? Nintendo Direct. Yeah, that thing. But I'm gonna get into it and see if I can see if there's any other games I wanna get my hands on. So I was gonna stream and play a game this time. I wanted to wait until I get my new intro, but I've just been feeling depressed for a week and just really need to distract myself. So I'm just gonna play something. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But anyway, that's my stream for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was good to see you guys watch and listen and interact with me as much as possible. So I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and hope you learned something from this. So if I have enough people to rate somebody, let's go rate somebody. But thank you guys for watching my stream, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm really dumb. It's not the be right back. It's the stream ending.